Today's video, we're going to talk about what they don't tell you about scaling Facebook ads, or meta ads, if you will. Meta ad scaling is actually quite hard in general. It takes a lot of work to scale meta ads versus on Google ads, which I also talk about a lot on this channel. You basically get a good setup going and it's going to scale for years just by accumulating more conversion data in your account. With Facebook, it takes ongoing work to scale. You can't just set up something and hope the algorithm takes care of finding you new customers on an ongoing basis, all by itself at least. I'm going to tell you the secret behind scaling Facebook ads, which really works, and not the typical you hear on other channels where, oh, just take your ad group and copy it into another campaign and run it with different campaign objective, optimizing for landing page views instead of sales, which basically all you're doing there is you're just sending more data at your website for Facebook to learn from. Your cost per conversion is going to go up. You're not going to make any money anymore because your cost per conversion is going to go up. And that's, of course, one way to scale if profitability isn't in play anymore. Whereas what I'm telling you here is going to be scaling at the ROI that you want, which most of you guys in the real world have to keep. So I'll go through what the details of this are through the diagram that I drew here on how we're doing it at our own firm to guarantee clients results, because that's what we have to do at Guaranteed PPC. And you'll have everything you need to do this for yourself. I'll give you some real world examples of different clients where we did this as well. Before I get into the content though, if you do not know who I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in their profitability in excess of the management fee. We are the only agency out there doing anything like this, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing with you in today's video. So with that said, getting into it. The scaling on Facebook is less having to do with the campaign structure that you have than it is with the ad copy itself. This is a very, very, very key point that other people aren't talking about. Once the ad is already profitable, that is, if you have a campaign that's already profitable already, scaling it is more about creating more / better / changed ads and ad copy than it is about anything else, okay? Of course, that includes landing pages, but because if you change the ad copy, you need different landing pages. If the offer and how you are positioning what you have it's going to take that a lot of times as well, but it's changing the copy. The structure of the campaign and tweaking with that is not really going to help you scale 99% of the time, for that matter. Unless you get into marketing different products, such as we had a printing company where, the typical person would try to market printing services by itself, but we would market different products. But even within the products, we would market different use cases of the product. So instead of marketing brochures, we're marketing brochures for rodeos, where you're ultimately going to get a brochure that was printed for a rodeo, targeting people that run rodeos in order to get people that wanted to order that specific product for that specific reason. And that's one great way to scale on Facebook if you have the opportunity to do it. But if you have one product, this is the way that you have to scale for the most part. If you are not profitable, by the way, yet, the reason why your Facebook ads are not profitable is because your creative isn't good enough, your offer on your ad is not good enough, and you need better creative, or you need to change the offer itself, or you need to narrow the targeting. But generally speaking, it's about the creative itself and the offer on the ad than the targeting, because you can have a fantastic ad and shitty targeting and you'll generally make money still. You can have the best targeting but an average ad and you're not going to make any money. Now, naturally, you have to have great targeting if you're selling in a narrow market still, but where most 90% of people go wrong and why they never make money with meta ads is because they don't understand how to put creative together that's good. They know how to do selling. They know when somebody wants what they have already, how to sell it to them. They don't know how to convince people who are not ready to buy to get them ready to buy, which is what they typically call as marketing, true marketing, not sales, like what you do on Google search ads itself, and getting creative to seductively attract, new customers or clients to your business that normally wouldn't have already been willing and already ready to buy what you have already and just dipping into that. Anyway, with that said, what you're going to typically do to scale on Facebook is you're going to have a 2 campaign / ad group setup. Okay. One is going to have your main campaign that you have likely going right now. Okay. That campaign gets your bread and butter results. Then you're going to have another campaign where you just run creative tests. Given, like I mentioned before, the main way that you scale is through the creative itself, not the targeting, not the campaign structure that other people are telling you on other channels. In that creative test campaign, you're testing all the different creative to find different angles, different offers, all of it that are going to work for your market. And when you find winners, you're going to move those up to your main results campaign to help it scale. And so, in other words, you find out how to scale once you find a new creative that will work, so to say. And typically what you're going to do is you're going to look at the click-through rate of your main campaign's results. And in your campaign that tests different ad creatives, you're going to make sure that the click-through rate on your creative after 1,000 impressions is higher than what you have on that main campaign. And if it is, you're going to shut off that creative in your test creative campaign, and you're going to move it up to the main results campaign that you have now, and you're going to run it. And you're going to run it until the frequency on the ad, which is the number of times your audience that you're targeting has seen the ad, run it until that particular creative has been seen at least 3 times or have a frequency of 3.0 or greater, then you're going to shut it off. And then it's reached its total usefulness or lifespan to your business and creating actual extra profit for your brand, aka scaling. At least for a while. There's a point in which you get enough creative that you could run them all indefinitely because you have 100 pieces of creative out there, and practically speaking, by time someone sees all 100 pieces of creative, they forgot the first piece of creative that they saw, and then therefore you've actually accomplished having an evergreen campaign. But you need hundreds of creative in order to get to that level. And in between now and where you're at now, and then you need to have this assembly line of pumping out creative, finding what's useful to your main campaign, using it in your main campaign, and then shutting it down. But when you shut it down, you already have an ad ready to replace it. And the idea is that you want to actually be creating new creative faster than you're shutting it off if you're going to actually scale. So if you can do that, you can scale your campaign that you have now, and not with all these goofy tricks, moving shit around in other campaigns. It's not going to work. By the way, the other way, I want to say right off the top as well, that we found that makes Facebook campaigns scale as well, is if you break campaigns down by neighborhood, city. We had a fitness campaign, for instance, one time. It was like a fitness program. Instead of marketing the fitness program itself to members of the overall metropolitan area, we had something that says, look at the results people in your insert the name of neighborhood are getting. And then we ran it to just that neighborhood, or basically a town of like 5,000-10,000 people. And we ran it just to that town. And because it spoke to the people who don't ever see ad copy that's related to their town like that, they click on it. And that was profitable because the click-through rate was, 4 or 5%. Cost per click is going to come way down towards 20-30 cents per click, and you got a campaign that's profitable. Problem is, of course, there's only so many campaigns you can run in Facebook, and it takes a lot of time to set up. That's one other way to scale. That is the location, taking the user's town that they're in and creating a different campaign for each town. That may not work for a national business, but for a local business, that's actually another way to scale that we have commonly used at our firm and got to work for us as well, and which will work for you if it applies to your, you have a local business. The campaign where you're going to do your creative testing, now that you know that there you have your 2 campaigns set up, what you're going to test is actually threefold here. You're going to test, first of all, different offers. Offers being, you actually have to have an offer. So if you're offering, let's say just randomly tree services, okay, you can have an offer to allow people to buy 2 limb cuttings and get the next 3 for free. And that would be an example of an offer. Instead of just saying, we offer tree services, you have this particular offer. Or you have something on there that says, free stump removal. this month only. You know that doesn't really, make you much money anyway, but everybody has a stump that they want to get removed. And then if you're banking on when somebody replies to that they're going to have 3, 4, 5 other things that they want to get done, not just get rid of a stump, if you will. And then when they respond and you talk to them, you bring them what I call like back down to earth, and you say, hey, and of course you have like a little asterisk next to the offer indicating that terms and conditions apply. Yeah, we'll come out and remove the stump as long as you buy at least one eligible service from us, the stump removal that you want, totally for free. And that's an angle. But these are different offers. If you are doing services, professional services, one thing you can do, like we've done before for offering fractional CFO services, we said, agree to a demo and we'll give you a $20 Starbucks gift card, and collecting leads. And we're trying to pitch people the service that we're providing on that demo. And that's an outside the box type of offer that we created for a CFO service company that's not related or tied to the service at all, but gets leads. And when you put together a good sales process, will work. We've done for a mortgage broker, we had, guaranteed lowest rate on your mortgage if you're planning to get one, or we'll give you a $100 Outback Steakhouse gift card. And it gets, again, leads that may not close. Maybe we have to give out a gift card or two, but we're able to pull demand out of Facebook because we offer mortgages. What they want is something unique that they haven't seen any day or every day. That is, therefore, what you want to do is come up with an offer that people will get their attention, and then figure out a way to actually do it. Just to give you an analogy here at our firm, we're guaranteed PPC. Nobody offers guaranteed PPC because they're all too afraid to do it, / it's too hard, / whatever. I also knew from working at another firm before I started this firm that everybody, more than anything else, just wants to know the results that you say that you can get them will actually happen because they've been burned before, like 10,000 times before. So what do? We offer a guarantee. Then we figure out as we go how to actually offer a guarantee that at least guarantee something. When nobody's guaranteeing anything, you don't have to have the best guarantee in the world. You just got to guarantee something to show the client that you have. You're not just going to tell them what they want to hear and then do nothing, essentially, which is what most other firms are doing. And then therefore we had something that we could put on an actual Facebook ad that will work. Okay, so you get the idea of what I'm saying here. You come up with different offers, different angles. You come up with different ads that will offer different things. You do format changes. So instead of having what people would, a standard ad that says, you offer the free stump removal, terms and conditions apply, like we've done in the past. With that, instead of having you say it, why not have a customer say it? Hey, guess what? I just got my stump removed for free. And you show a sped up video of the stump being removed. And really, then they said, there's a local tree company doing this. All you got to do is call them. They're going to remove your stump. So that's what they call as a UGC style ad. Okay, you can run, therefore, a different format of the ad. Or it could be a male's voice versus a female's voice, or an old person versus a young person. So different formats, okay? So you can do those. And then you can also do regular variants here. So now you're getting into the micro changes, different headlines, different color schemes. You're using different icons. In the description, you're using different copy. So you get into doing that as well. So basically, it's somebody's full-time job at your company to just come up with different ads. All they're going to do is come up with different ads. And they're going to have back-end tracking to do it right, to see if the leads that they're producing, if you're producing leads, turn into sales at a high enough rate to offset the cost of producing the leads on an ad creative level to do this right. If you're doing e-commerce sales, obviously tracking is a lot easier and you're not going to have to do that, but it's the same process. To get 100 winning ads that you would want to have in your main campaign, you may have to test 500 different creatives in your test campaign. Eventually, when you get all that going, yes, the campaign's going to pretty much be evergreen because, for the most part, every single person you want to market to ain't going to realize the ads repeat after the 101st ad, like I was saying before. That is how you scale a campaign that's working now to get it to do more above all other strategies itself. You can do hyper-local ads, like I said before. You can come up with different ways to sell different things and market those to scale, but that is not going to scale an ad that you already have running. The way you scale an ad or a campaign you already have running is you either load it up with more creative and you run it and don't run it forever, because it's not going to, the more times somebody sees an ad, the less response rate you're going to get from that ad. So you've got to have fresh ad copy coming into that campaign. And if you keep testing new ads, you'll find super winners. And eventually your campaign can just run all the super winners once you have enough of them, like I mentioned before. That right there is how you scale above all else, and what we do at our firm to scale our ads, so to say. You got to put a content creation team in order to do this right. This is actually, by the way, what Gary Vaynerchuk has said, that what people mostly do wrong when it comes to social media. They spend way too much money on the ad media itself and not enough on the creative. When you're talking about Facebook ads, that's where the money is. It's in the creative. You should be spending half of your ad spend or half of your marketing budget you have for Facebook advertising on creative and half of it on the ad spend, frankly. So if you spend $100 a day on ad spend, you should be spending another 100 just on creative, which you may not be able to afford that, but as soon as you start doing it, the campaign's going to scale. And then there's there's a delay from the time that you put money into the creative and then the time you run the ad. And then the ad has to run a while with that creative and get the lifespan out of that creative to get the sales out of it. But at least if you start this process now, 60 days from now, once that creative has had time to run and you've extracted all the revenue from it, you've got enough to make 2 creative now, and then 4, and then 8, and then you just keep going. That's specifically how you scale on Facebook in the real world. Not in this hypothetical world where people make Facebook ad courses and they don't actually run any campaigns, because if they did have campaigns that were working, they wouldn't be selling a course. Frankly, they would just be doing it, which you may be able to say that about our channel, but we run an agency. So legitimately, we have a reason to, we're actually monetizing the information directly. We're not just selling it through a course itself. And we also run our own e-commerce shops. We do this stuff for ourselves. So with that said, we're not just talking about doing this, in other words, and putting it out there. We're actively using it in our business. And I'm just telling you what we found works to scale versus just making this up. Or maybe I ran one campaign like some of these other guys, and as soon as it worked, I came to the table with it. And that's not enough evidence, because every business is a little bit different. And therefore, how are you going to know this is going to work over 50 campaigns in 50 different markets? Nothing works in all markets, but I can tell you on a generalized basis what will work most of the time after trying 50,000 things, which is why you're here on this channel and subscribe to this channel to begin with. That said, if you haven't subscribed, you damn well should if you're serious about making money with ads, because I literally spend 40 hours a week doing ad strategy at our firm to find out what works. And I share it on the weekends, where I spend another 30 hours a week just doing the YouTube channel. Nobody else, as far as I know, works this many hours to give you this information I'm giving you here for free from somebody still that actively is in the mix, running ads personally, doing the ad strategy personally myself, not just talking about it, not owning a firm and having somebody else do it or whatever. So you should subscribe if you're serious about making money with ads. Furthermore, you should check out my blog on my site. You can find that at guaranteedppc.com/blog. The blog has information that actually explains what we're using to guarantee results for our clients there, with the screenshots, with everything you need to use it. So you should check that resource out as well. If you have any questions about anything I've basically covered here so far, you can always leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. I'm more than happy to answer any questions about this or any other ad-related question, really, just as a thank you for helping the channel grow and being here in the first place. With all that said, okay, now the last little piece to all this in terms of scaling on Facebook that I want to mention here is tying in what data you're able to collect, because you can scale the Facebook ads, because you're constantly investing into creative, new creative, different creative. That's not all going to work, but you're actually throwing creative into your campaign on an ongoing basis to find which ones will work. You're building up a massive amount of data that will not only get the campaign to scale itself, because more data in Facebook, the better results, but practically speaking, unlike Google, which will scale and scale and scale with more data over a decade, Facebook, you'll hit a roadblock with scaling just based upon data accumulation much quicker. Probably, in most occasions, like after a year or 2 to 3 years, you're going to hit a roadblock with it for sure. Whereas with some Google campaigns, we're getting a 25% growth in sales from added data and since 10 years ago, and it still keeps going. You can build up that data to then, get other campaigns to work on Google Display Network, YouTube campaigns that power Google Display ads, YouTube ads, demand gen ads to work, and then vice versa. You run your Google Display Network ads and your YouTube ads and your demand gen ads through your Google Ads account to power your Facebook ads. So in other words, to scale your Facebook ads, part of the game that gets it to scale is bringing outside data into the platform itself. Now, there is, you can upload your customer data, cool, fine. Where the really good results in scaling on Facebook is where you scale based upon the website traffic that's come to the website. So what we'll do is we'll run heavy display, demand gen, YouTube campaigns, targeting people who have recently searched for a product or service like ours that we're marketing, or been to our competitor's website and drive that traffic to the site, hopefully to make money on the front end from those ads. But even if we were to break even on that, to feed the Facebook algorithm to see these people that are hitting the site, what specific traits they have, and people that are in market for the product. Because then we can have our Facebook ad show up for that person, and then boom, we got a sale. Whereas if they wouldn't have saw the Facebook ad, we wouldn't have gotten a sale from them. But more so to be able to give them a super good profile on the types of people who are in market for our product. Because Facebook, for the most part, they have some outside data. They have tags that are on other websites, and they can see what people are doing kind of across the web. But not like Google, because Google's got live data on who's searching for what itself. And then, ultimately, you can have 10,000 people a month coming to your website that are in market for a mole removal cream. And Facebook and their algorithm can see what the traits are that make those people unique. So if they're not on Facebook saying, I need mole removal cream in the instant messenger chat or whatever, they're going to start to realize, oh, well, we need to market to people that have this trait, this trait, this trait, and this trait, because these are buyers. And so you use your data from your Google ads, specifically demand gen, YouTube display campaigns, targeting in-market buyers there to feed the Facebook algorithm so that it can help you keep scaling. Because Facebook data by itself is limited, whereas Google's data is really good, and you can use Google's data to help you scale on Facebook. So in addition to adding more creative, like I mentioned, you feed in data from Google campaigns that you're running, display, YouTube, demand gen, to make the data, enhance the data that you have for Facebook to learn who's a buyer, and then you scale because of that itself. So you can scale 2 ways, through the ad creative, and 2 by adding more data for Facebook to look at. And generally speaking, we will typically, for most clients, start out on Google before we do Facebook, because Facebook does so much better when you're feeding it all this data from all these other campaigns you're running in Google, specifically because on Google, you can target people that are searching for mole removal cream, have searched for it in the past, have searched for it on YouTube. So we know those in-market buyers are there and we can tap into them right away. Then that data goes into Facebook, and then that helps Facebook scale as a result. So, by the way, if you want somebody to create this creative for you, this is one of the things we do for clients. Reach out to me at my agency at guaranteedppc.com. Or if you just want to be able to scale your ads in general, we can give you a bunch of different ways to do it, and we guarantee a result. So you can reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. We'll have a conversation, decide what we can do for you, what will work, and see if we can work with you as a client. We also sell ad templates. If we've already worked in your niche market before, we can sell you the winning ads, landing pages, all of it that work for your market. We've worked in over 100 plus different niche markets. So the chances are high we've already got the results you're looking for in the market you're in, and can tell you the results you're going to get with it up front before you bought the template from us, which is way cheaper, better, and easier than doing all this same stuff for yourself that we had to figure out over years how to do in a different city or different state or different country that you're actually operating in. For that matter, we also sell coaching. I've been doing coaching personally with different companies that are stuck where they're at in terms of revenue or profit growth. And I ask them a ton of questions about, everything from your sales process, your website, to your, how you handle, ascending customers so that they buy more from, more often than what they're buying now, everything. And then I can tell you where your bottleneck is and what to work on to get you unstuck. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com and I'll have a conversation with you about that as well. With all that said, that pretty much spells out how to scale on Facebook the right way, the real way that actually works. Let me know if you have any comments in the comment section, and I'll see you in the next one.
Remember when I said Facebook ads was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.